What is the absolute fastest, yeah, we are definitely not going to be friends moment you've ever experienced with someone? I met a girl on a friendship meetup app, and within 2 minutes of hanging out, she started bragging about how much money her fiancé earns, how nice their cars are, how much money they have saved, and how she recently bought a cheap purse for £600, all while asking 0 questions about my life. She then sent me videos of her spraying her indoor cats with a hose and thought it was funny that they were hissing and scared. I already wasn't feeling her friendship, and then that solidified it for me. They put on this sad song and kept making themselves cry on purpose while looking out the car window as if it was a music video. You're supposed to do that only when nobody's around, lol. Met up with friends at an area full of bars. They brought along a guy they knew from university. I met him, shook his hand, all seemed fine. Then, as we were walking to a bar, he noticed a cute girl. As we walked by, he said something to the girl. The girl ignored him. The guy was incensed. He started shouting insults and calling the girl every nasty name he could muster. I told my friends that I would not be staying with him if he was there. Absolutely not. I walked away and went home. I got an apology text from the one guy who was friends with him. He never brought that guy around again.
Friends of friends is always a gamble. One of my good friends in college brought one of his friends from home out with our group one weekend, and this guy, who almost all of us had just met, made the single worst first impression I've ever seen. He was rude, racist, and tried to bully another guy in our group who he'd just met. All evening long, snide asshole comments directed toward one of us, I guess chosen at random. Miserable time.
When we went on a 2-day trip with my neighbors to a nearby city, they had a huge fight the night before and left their 3-year-old with us for the whole day because they needed to sort out their issues alone. We had to take care of their son, who's basically a stranger, all day on top of our toddler. Then my neighbors came back to dinner at 6 p.m. like nothing happened.
We don't hire Europeans. They take time off. I should be able to talk to you at 2 a.m. Europeans will be gone for large periods of time. We're here to grind. Something our director of consulting said at our commercial kickoff. It was saying all the quiet parts out loud about how they abuse their American workers and contractors.
I was semi-seeing a girl in college. She really hated her roommate because the roommate had a boyfriend, which was totally fair because, well, yeah, it can be annoying. Then she told me, yeah, so when she goes away for a weekend, I clean the toilet with her toothbrush. I slowly backed up, grabbed my toothbrush, and started distancing myself from her really quick. Told her what car I was driving at the time. You better never pick me up with this car. No, I won't, ever. It was quite new, but more of an economy model. One time I saw my roommate on a date leaving a restaurant with a girl. They talked and my roommate looked kind of taken aback. Then he walked to the driver's door and got in. She grabbed the passenger door handle, but it wouldn't open. He rolled down the window slightly, paused, then left her there with her raising her arms like, what the fuck? Asked him about it later, he laughed that I'd seen it. We got to my car, which is a Subaru WRX, and she said, I thought you were rich. You drive a Subaru? This girl kept telling me every time I saw her, I could totally beat you up if I wanted to. I was like, what the hell is wrong with this person? He called the waiter brokey because the restaurant didn't have the wine he wanted. Went to a bridal brunch since I got picked as a bridesmaid. Someone asked what our hobbies are. I said video games. I've been playing since Pokemon was in black and white on Game Boy. Girl looks at me and goes, oh, that's cute. You're trying to be woke. I think I blue screened there, but when I asked her to clarify, she did the, are you too old to play video games? Edit, add. The first Pokemon game I played was red, blue, and yellow. I played on the Game Boy. The gray one, yeah, number.
Me and my wife worked with a childhood friend she had. We all became really acquainted, we attended her baby shower, helped her out with covering shifts. Then she started sharing stuff on her social media, essentially saying gay marriage should be overturned and it's unnatural. Mind you, me and my wife are lesbians and she had been nothing but nice to us to our face, but apparently thought our existence was disgusting. Took her off socials and haven't heard from her since. Once my company was acquired by another company and my new boss, who had that Italian mob boss vibe about him, casually dropped in conversation something about how men should slap their wives around occasionally to keep them in line. I have the appearance of a regular white straight dude. Not actually straight, the rest is correct. And the amount of white straight dudes who will try to instantly bond to you over, so women are annoying, huh? Or, so we hate gay stuff, huh? Or, so we love racism, huh? Is pretty upsetting.
Met a girl in a college class. We seemed to get along, so we decided, hey, why not hang out outside of class? We were walking to grab lunch at a spot that happened to be in my neighborhood. She looks at me and dead ass asks me, "Is this the ghetto?" Then proceeds to spend the rest of the walk there talking shit about poor people and saying how she's glad she grew up in a better area. Most awkward lunch of my life. He knowingly and intentionally parked in a handicap reserved space. As if that wasn't bad enough, then he made a disparaging remark about people with disabilities. Nope.
My friend was traveling in the same country my family lives in. I was going at the same time because my dad is sick. She just wanted to party the whole time, and when I said I came there to spend time with my mom and dad, she replied, "You just need to accept that your dad is going to die." Sent her packing for my parents, home the next morning. We aren't friends anymore, and I'm happier for it.
First few days with my new office mate, we were getting to know each other, and she asked me if I wanted to have kids. I said no, and she started crying. I immediately found a new job. I've had people get mad that I don't want kids. Never sad, though. Our wives are friends, so they thought we should be friends too. He baby talks to his kids. The youngest one was like 10 years old.
I worked with a guy for a couple of years. I helped him move and did other friendly things. Once I asked him for help on an office task and he refused. So I said, "I have helped you before." And he said, "But what have you done for me lately?" So that was the end of that. My husband and I went on a couple's date with another couple. We went to a cafe and played a board game since we all had that in common. She was nice, but he was kind of abrasive. Towards the end of the game, my husband set up a winning move against the other guy, but the other guy said, "If you take that move, this friendship is over." We thought he was joking. He wasn't. The wife sighed. I felt so bad for her. I'm sure he does this frequently. My husband made his move and won the game. The other guy stormed out. The wife apologized. We told her it was very nice meeting her and we had a good time hanging out with her. Never contacted them again. Holy shit, I hope she gets out of that marriage. This mindset baffles me. If he'd won, he'd still know he only won by making an insane threat and would otherwise have lost. What's the point?
He took a gun out of his closet and pointed it at me because he thought it was funny. Afterwards, he checked and discovered it was loaded.
A mom at swim lessons, talking about having a third kid. She said her husband didn't want one, but she did, and therefore it was going to happen. This was after she talked mad shit about how difficult her other two kids are, especially her daughter with autism. Big no from me, dog. Lol. I recently had to cut off a friend because she was talking about getting pregnant next year. She has 2 children she can't afford. She's in the middle of a divorce and doesn't have a partner currently. One of her kids she hasn't seen in almost a year. I'm child-free by choice, and people who don't treat children like people piss me off. When they asked me to join their pyramid scheme multiple times within the first 2 hours of us meeting, at my previous job, I greeted a coworker with, "Hey, how's it going?" Her response was, "Why?" She later reported me for asking personal questions. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. It really helps. Subscribe for more, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one.